peace in the mind, or experiencing the unconditioned moment, is something that we can learn to explore, to experience, to witness through the clear understanding. Lots of the time when we sit down, as you all know, we fail to understand the state of happiness that is within, because we habitually have the conditioned tendency to look for happiness in the external aspects or objects, whether it is through the encounter of objects through the senses, which we have long time understood where happiness is by gaining, by accumulating, by keeping the deeply rooted defilements entertained. And that is quite interesting to realize, because happiness is not sometimes in what we depend. So that is a relative happiness. The reason why it is relative is when it gets conditioned, the reasons or the conditioning elements change all the time. And when they change, nothing that we encounter or perceive is there as when we perceive them or even experience them. So it's quite relative, that happiness. So if you take a binary approach, we can try to understand that there can be an absolute happiness within, because if external experience can be dependent or relative or not permanent, or so in the relative happiness we can learn how to free ourselves getting tangled, stopping to develop what we call, or we can understand, the only if syndrome, what if syndrome, which we are very much conditioned. So the tendency to, when I say tendency, the habitual proliferation of the emotions arising through trying to depend on happiness outside can be deceiving. So we can try to free ourselves from that habitual pendulum, trying to depend on the encountering objects, external external to our five senses. Recognize in the engagement, recognize in the proliferation or entanglement, recognize in the encountering or seizing moment, noticing the arising of it is important to learn how to let go of it. Being precise in the mindful moment, seeing the arising of the thought process can only help us to let go of it. Otherwise, we are caught in the wagon of emotions. We're lost in our thoughts. And the proliferation of the emotions can make us not experience clearly, not experience through intuition or wisdom. We try to understand those with emotions. So now we approach in the internal arising of thought processes. Now that is also not permanent. You can't depend on the rising of those thoughts either to be peaceful. Because those thoughts also arose based on the conditioning moments. Those thoughts weren't there. Those thoughts arose from deeply grasped moments, experiences. They were triggered by those external objects. These thoughts have been deeply rooted in our minds, get stirred up every moment, making us fail to understand, clearly see things. But when we learn how to train ourselves, how to free from these engagements, we develop a true moment of mindfulness, peaceful moment. The grasping of these conditioned moments create an acceptance of the self, that there is something primarily grouped into two moments of our lives, the likes and the dislikes. And sometimes when we fail to see the rising of these conditioning moments, we get lost in looking for those previous experiences of likes and planning of the rejection or the facing of the challenges of dislike. Again, we get caught in being enslaved or puppeteered by those emotions. So peace, or the absolute, or moments are relative and subjective. We can learn how to renounce or detach from them, and empowering that peace within rather than empowering the conditioning objects or memories or thought processes. Disconnecting from those moments, recognizing, releasing yourself, and returning to the present moment or being mindful. Essentially, we need to learn how to stop thinking, stop analyzing, but simply recollect and gather yourself to the present moment of nothing or stillness. And just be in that stillness as much as you can. Recall the wandering mind, noticing the wandering moments. Recall the analyzing mind and bringing yourself to the present moment of stillness. Because where there is stillness, there is no thinking. The stillness of the body helps us to be still